about, and I mentioned this last week, that the world's viewpoint is once something happens, it's happened. So once it's done, it's done. But if you really understand the process of redemption, everything is being made eventually as though it never happened in the first place.
Yes.
So how can you not be thankful for everything that's happened because of the process of experiencing redemption out of it?
Yes. The process of experiencing redemption, that it's not just that it happened, it's over. No. It's actually the stuff of redemption. And it's my belief that the joy of the fourth act, the joy of heaven, will in fact reach back, and does reach back into the pain of the present moment. Even reaches back into the pain of our past and the trauma of our past. Reaches back, and we will see when we are with Him that that will have been the stuff of redemption. And that the wickedness of men, the bad intentions of others, the pains of life cannot have the upper hand. But actually that will be the stuff that God transmutes into glory. I would want you to think about 1 Peter along these lines. In 1 Peter chapter 5, this is my favorite verse in 1 Peter. It's in 1 Peter 5:10. And there are three themes he's been using in this verse. And I know I've taught you this before, but I want you to hear it again. It talks about suffering. Every chapter in 1 Peter deals with the problem of suffering. It's an insightful epistle. You can find suffering in every one of the chapters. But then he also talks about the grace of God. But he also anticipates the glory that's to come. This one marvelous verse synthesizes those three themes. And here's what he says. 5:10. After you have suffered for a little while, the God of all grace who called you to His eternal glory in Christ will Himself perfect, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Listen to that verse. After you have suffered for a little while. First of all, will you suffer? He's not asking you if you will. He's saying after you have. That's why I said earlier, don't be surprised at the fiery ordeal among you, which comes upon you for your testing as though some strange thing were happening to you. Understand that the degree to which you suffer as a Christian, you're actually blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. But he says, after you've suffered, now, by the way, how long will it be? Just a while. Understand that idea. For a little while. And I know I've taught you this as well, and I've told some of you this. All of us has a cross to bear in this life. Some things seem intractable, some relationships, some physical issue, whatever that might happen to be. Career. I want to suggest to you that how much longer can that intractable situation prevail? How much longer do you have to go through it? Maybe a few decades max. That's what I say. I mean, you're in a tough situation, whatever that might be. As bad as it is, and it may be a cross to bear, and you do well to embrace the cross that God gives you and to ask what He can do that's redemptive in it and through it. Because if it's not one, it'll be another. So you have to say, though it's painful, ask yourself, are you willing to bear this just for a few more decades? Max. After that, there will be no sorrow, no pain, no suffering. The former things will be done away with. And I believe that God calls us to embrace that perspective so that we can take up our cross how? Daily. You can't take the whole thing up all at once, but you can take it up daily. And through the journey of life, you can embrace God's call in that day, recognizing that it's not going to be much longer. The reality is this: after you've suffered for a little while, the God of all grace, who called you to His eternal glory in Christ, will Himself perfect, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Let me put it this way. There was a philosopher's stone the alchemists used. It was described that way. Remember how the idea that they somehow supposed that through their use of this philosopher's stone they could transmute lead into gold. That was the whole idea. There is a philosopher's stone, and its name is Christ. And I want you to know that the grace of God will transmute the lead of suffering into the gold of glory. That is God's purpose. That by the grace of God, the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory, he's going to transmute that lead into gold. And that all things will be well. And all things will be well. And all manner of things will be well. This is a perspective that I'll want us to embrace then as we launch into this in our time together.
Thank you very much, Ted.